Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Enterprise, Season 1, Episode 4, Unexpected. So, 4 episodes in, and I would actually say that this is probably my favorite episode so far. The first 3 were a little difficult for me to kind of get through. This is the first one that I've actually kind of felt engaged. I thought it was kind of funny. I actually kind of enjoyed it. From the opening scene where we see Archer in the shower was actually a little surprising because this episode, or this series, does kind of show men pretty much as it shows women. And I mean, with Scott Bakula, it was actually kind of surprising. Like, I've seen Looking, so I've seen the TV show. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a great show. So I've seen more Scott Bakula than is in this episode. But it's kind of funny that, for one, he's actually taking a shower, which they've talked about sonic showers, and we actually saw a sonic shower in Voyager. But the fact that, like, they don't have a replicator in the mess hall, they actually cook their food, and the fact that they're actually taking showers is kind of interesting. Most of this episode is just about an alien race is using Enterprise, like as a hitchhiker, kind of hiding in their trail to do repairs. And Enterprise is like, hey, we'll just help you out. So they send Trip over there, and honestly, that whole sequence was a little drawn out for me. Just the fact that, like, everything was echoey, and it was supposed to be like a drug trip because his body wasn't, like, calibrating correctly, but once he acclimated, he was totally good. This is the first experience that we have with a holodeck, and it's this race's technology. It was actually kind of cool, and it was interesting to see the way they portray it. Now, most people would say we don't see a holodeck until the Next Generation, which is actually untrue. In the animated series, they have the Rec Room, which is a holodeck program. And it's actually, I would think that's the first time that we've seen it for the original series, because we don't see it in the live action, but we see it in the animated series. And then it makes a huge comeback with the Next Generation. Although in the Next Generation, some of those first early scenes or episodes, they do act like this is brand new technology. So who knows, maybe it's this ongoing process. So most of this episode is about Trip and this alien exploring the holodeck, and then when he comes back to Enterprise, he has a nipple on his wrist, and it turns out he's pregnant. So this is the first documentation of a human-alien hybrid, which again, I find that a little bit hard to believe. Because it has been 100 years since we first met the Vulcans. So, and we know at least 100 years from now, Spock's going to be born. And I don't think he was the first human hybrid. So I feel like there should have been somebody else before this one. And this is actually the first appearance of a male being pregnant in Star Trek, which you would actually think like is a sci-fi cliche. But to my recollection, I can't actually remember it being done in Star Trek. So it's kind of cool. The Doctor's actually kind of winning me over. For whatever reason, in hindsight, like, I remember Dr. Phlox being really annoying, and I kind of hated him, and he reminded me a lot of Neelix, for whatever reason, just me remembering it way as a kid. But watching it now, like, I actually really like Dr. Phlox. Just, like, the way he presents himself is actually really nice. I actually think he's an interesting character. Especially every time he has dinner with T'Pol and they just talk about, like, hey, we're like the only aliens on this ship. How's it going? Like, his conversations are really, really interesting. So, of course, we have to find the alien species again. They're inside a Klingon battle cruiser, and it's that really nice original series, like, gray battle cruiser. So that was kind of cool to see them. Still with the rigid forehead, still no explanation there. But it is, I think now this is the first time in Enterprise where the Klingons do speak English because the translator now works or whatever. So it's kind of interesting watching them take those early steps. So for those who have seen it, 4 episodes in, what are you guys thinking about Enterprise so far? What do you think about the holodeck and the whole pregnancy hybrid thing and the Klingons? Go ahead, let me know, and I will see you guys next time for Terra Nova.